What's up guys, Sagi here and welcome to the first 5 Minute Friday. This is a new series where I spend 5 minutes or less giving you the most important information, or at least my opinion, about a specific product or topic, because who doesn't have 5 minutes? So let me throw 5 minutes on the clock and get started. In this first episode, I'm going to talk about the Canon 50mm f1.8, which you'll hear some people refer to as the Nifty 50. Now, a lot of times people watch one of my camera reviews and in the comments I get some variation of this question. I'm going to buy this or that camera, and what lens should I get? I created a dedicated video discussing this topic and I'll link to it in the description and up in the corner so you can check it out when you're finished with this one. It's going to teach you a little bit about lenses and it's going to walk you through the process of choosing your first lens. But after you get that lens, this is definitely a lens that you need to consider as your next purchase. And actually, even if you own some other lenses, even lenses that are much more expensive than this one, you should still consider getting this lens. You might be saying to yourself, but why, Sagi? What makes this lens so special that I should consider getting it? It's a good thing you asked because I'm going to tell you why. Okay, so this little lens is a 50mm f1.8. And the f1.8 part means that this aperture opens up very wide, which you're gonna love for a number of reasons. Look, you can essentially see me right through this lens. A wide aperture like this lets you get that beautiful shallow depth of field so that you can make subject in the foreground or the background out of focus. And whether you're shooting photos or videos, you're gonna love the separation that this creates for your subject. Next, the fact that it opens up this wide means that it lets a ton of light onto the sensor. And this makes it a fantastic lens to use in low light situations. So if you're shooting at night or even during the day, but you just don't have enough light, this lens will open up and let you get that perfect exposure without having to raise your ISO and introducing noise to your images or video. A lot of times you'll hear people talk about lenses with wide fixed maximum aperture as fast lenses. And this doesn't have anything to do with the mechanical speed of the lens or autofocus or anything like that. It actually has to do with the fact that since it allows so much light in, you can shoot at a faster shutter speed and still get a proper exposure. Now moving on, I want to talk about the size and weight. And as far as size, just look at it, it's tiny. Check it out next to a Zeiss 50mm f2.0. It's almost a third of the size, and that makes it a great lens to always have in my bag. It barely takes up any room and it's also incredibly light. This Zeiss lens weighs 18.7 ounces, whereas even with the redesign of this lens, which uses a metal lens mount instead of a plastic one, the Canon only weighs 4.6 ounces. So it's not really adding a lot of weight, and it's so small that it's not really taking up a lot of room. This way, if I'm ever thinking, should I take it, should I not take it, it's just going in my bag. Next, I want to talk a little about the 50mm focal length. If you've watched any of my other lens reviews, then you've heard me mention crop factor. So in terms of field of view, the 50mm refers to what this lens would look like on cameras like the 5D Mark III, the EOS R, the RF, or even the Sony a7 III with an MC11 adapter. And that's because all of these cameras are full frame sensor cameras. However, if I put this 50mm f1.8 on an SL3, which has an APS-C sensor with a 1.6x crop factor, I'll be getting an 80mm equivalent field of view, meaning that it would be a much tighter shot. And that is because I have to take the focal length of 50 and multiply it by 1.6, which again gives me an 80mm field of view. Now to put this in practical terms, let me show you an example. So here's the 50mm on the 5D Mark III, and now I put it on the SL3 and place it in the exact same spot. You're gonna see the difference in terms of field of view. Okay, now to the last reason why I recommend this lens, and that's the price. At the time I'm shooting this video, this lens costs $125, which is a phenomenal value for such a fast lens. Depending on when you're watching this video, the price may be a little different, but I'll put some links in the description and you can check and see if there are any current discounts or specials. Regardless, it's definitely a lens that I recommend to pretty much any beginner that wants a budget-friendly lens that will do great in low light and give that beautiful shallow depth of field that we all love. So that wraps up my first episode of 5 Minute Friday. If you enjoyed it, please let me know by leaving a comment. give this video a thumbs up, and if you haven't yet, join the community by hitting the subscribe and notification buttons. Also, if you have any follow-up questions, I do my best to answer every comment that I get, so go ahead and drop them in the comment section below. For more tips and tutorials, you can always find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Tech Gear Talk. And you know what I always say, buy it nice or buy it twice. Good luck and see you soon.